that government itself is invalid. It's null and void. So let me stop there for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. You know, again, what we're talking about today is unitary Nigeria a federation or a democracy? And we are saying that it is not. So let's talk about what is a federation. Welcome, Honorable Ogaraka. You are welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
So let's start off. Let's just dive straight into it and talk about what is a federation, right? Yeah. And then we'll later on we'll talk about what is Nigeria. You know, how do you compare Nigeria to what a federation is? So let's talk about what is a federation. So if you look at, you know, the different definitions of what a federation is, there is a definition that says that it is a federation is also known as a federal state, which is a political entity characterized by a union of partially self-governing provinces, states, or other regions under a central federal government. Okay, so there is a self-governing status that is very important in the definition of a federation. Now, in the context of Nigeria, in 1960, and again in 1963, you know, we had the regions, the Eastern region, the Western region, the Midwestern region, and the Northern region, and the Middle Belt was supposed to come later, which unfortunately it ended up not happening. But those regions is part of what makes a federation. So in this definition here, it says, alternatively, a federation is a form of government in which sovereign power is formally divided between a central authority, which is the central government that we had in Nigeria up until 1966, and a number of constituent regions, right? So that each region retains some degree of control over its internal affairs.
Jane, may I interject quickly?
Absolutely.
Do you want to share that thing on the screen as you're doing it? So
that's true. I can do that.
Yeah, thank you. So very important that we can follow what is being said by Jane. Now that's it. So you can now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that it says here as well is that, you know, federal states where the central government has overriding powers are not truly federal states. The reason why we're going through this now is that we're going to go through a process to examine the regions and find out if they are federation, if they are nations that qualify, that would qualify, that qualified Nigeria to be a federal republic. And then we'll look at the states and see how they do against that criteria that would make them qualify the federal republic of Nigeria, the unitary federal republic of Nigeria as a federation. So I would let AY and Honorable, if you guys want to add to you know, this discussion about what a federation is, and then we'll go ahead and look at some of the characteristics of what actually makes up a nation or a state that would qualify a country to be a union of nations or states. So I'll let you guys make any comments if you want to at this time.
Okay, oh no, go Ogaraku. You haven't said it, you've not spoken. I'll let you have do the honors. Go ahead first and please chip in, then I can comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Hear you well.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. You see, the jeopardy we have in Nigeria, we are just letting it maybe to make it in papers to have it said, but I think it is something that is evidenced even to an illiterate.
Yeah.
Before the so-called 1966 encounters, we really have a system that was existing. This system was a regional government.
Yes.
Each region has its own premier and a governor. That simply means they are almost an independent country. They are federated in Nigeria by submitting some part of the services. In fact, I remember mentioning one of them. Some of the broadcasters, remember, even before then, there was no federal NTA was later formed. All this is, you had everything on the regional levels.
Right.
And at the federal level, when they come, they know they are talking to different, just like what happens in United Kingdom here, clearly. You don't come from England and impose anything on Scotland or in Ireland. Or even when they are doing the same thing, they do it at their own pace, at their own way, at their own time. They had the also right to defend why they are doing it a different way, because there's no way the same thing is happening in the same part of the country at the same time. Even if it's the pandemic that came in, maybe it came in somewhere first to another one second. Then even if they are imposing what they call it, restrictions, it will not be on the same date. So the idea of a concentrated federal government in a nation, in a place as wide as Nigeria is morally wrong, legally wrong. Let me come back to what is the issue of federation. Then we have the regions, remember. We have the three regions, the Eastern region, the Western region, and the Northern region. In the other processes, we saw the due process that was taken to create the Midwestern region. And just like somebody rightly said, the same process was going forward to create the Middle Belt region. And maybe there should have been a kind of processes to be able to get people in their own natural nature as a coexistence in Nigeria, not somebody staying in somewhere in a place, use one pen or the other, draw through and tell you this is your border. It is not done.
Indeed.
That's why you see minority of Igbos in Benue, minority of Igbos in Kogi, minority of Igbos in Edo State, minority of Igbos in in Delta State, minority of Igbos in Bayelsa State, minority of Igbos in Kalab, in Cross Rivers, minority of Igbos in every of the states that surround Igbos. There is minority of Igbos. These are not. Those people are Igbos and should be in the Igbo nation, which was supposed to be the old Eastern region.
Right. That's and even AY, Kwara, where does it roll up into?
It rolls well. You can see that is actually Yoruba land, largely.
Exactly.
It is Yoruba land, but the way they did it, if you're looking at the map of Kwara, you can see that they've suddenly subsumed it into the north. So many people. This is
I do have this is a picture here that shows the genesis of the regions and the states, and also have like the number of states and how much they have been grown. But if you look on here, I don't know if you guys can see clearly. Let me just expand this a little bit. If you look over here in the northern region, in I think this is 1976.
Yes, you got
Kwara is now in the Western Central. They now moved it into the north.
Exactly.
And it was the Western Central. See how they moved it up here into the north?
Exactly.
Okay, so Kwara is now in the north, as well as Kogi, which is part of the Yoruba.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I
wanted to pull this. I pulled this out so that you guys can see how everything has been divvied up, and what Overreach is talking about is very important. Okay, because it's even important as we talk about if Nigeria qualifies to be a federation, because they're going to have to use states, right? They have to use the states to be able to do so. But when you have states, whether you've now mixed up all these ethnic nationalities into all these unnatural, that kind of disqualifies them. But let's kind of keep going, unless you want to make some more comments on here. But I point out the Kwara, how Kwara moved up into the northern region when it was not actually, it was a western, it was part of western region.
It's part of western region fully. And I mean, what they tried to do was, you see, the wars that they had in the 1800s, this is all what they tried to do. That was one of the bases that they were trying to use, the Afoja issue and all of that. And then, you know, the defeat, but forgetting that we actually came back and took back our land. And, you know, so that they were chased off. So that is why they try to use that as a point of division to say, okay, yes, you know, there is some conjecture, just a little bit of a mind game there, and put it, you know, in there, and then start moving themselves in, you know, because for them to have lost that war is a point that is painful. And they're trying to redress it now by saying we are in power now and we want to take it back. And we do that by using political means, economic means, military means, all of that rolled in, you know. So that is, it's very important that, and when we do the map for Yoruba Nation, we always include Kwara and Kogi because it's just, that's just it. Right, you know,
right, because it is part of the
That's
Western,
correct.
Yeah.
Another thing we can look at here is that what is a line for this issue of North and South? Is it a equatorial line?
Yeah.
Or is it inhabitants line? Or is it a war line?
Yeah.
What determines this line? How can somebody come from all the way, taking almost 75% of the whole territory, claiming it
without any?
No, we need to know. We need to know, because it's not a matter of, because how can you tell me that the Igbos that are now in Benue State are not are in the north?
Exactly.
No, justify it.
But these are very good points.
Very good points.
These are critical points that people need to hear and understand. You know, these are definitely critical points. You know, because, you know, to your point, you know, there's been a divide and conquer, and we've talked about this before. Because in the regional space, there was one leader for that homogeneous group, right? Yes. There was one leader for that homogeneous group. And this is what we're going to talk about next, because we can take a look at this, is what is a state and nation? And that's one of the criteria, right? That's one of the criteria. And that's why I said it was important as we're talking about states. When we talk about states, is that we you know, we'll kind of buttress that there. But it's a group of homogeneous people. Now they've mixed up everybody, right? They put Igbos everywhere. They put Yoruba everywhere.
Just to make it difficult for us to know what's going on. It's all about confusion. It's about confusing.
But also, as we talked about, you know, to drive that natural competition between states, right? Because now they've divided. You know, when we look at the Yoruba, right? It's now divided, right?
Yeah, and that was their plan all along. You know, it's the divide and rule technique and tactic that Pastor APARTHEID just spoke about just a few days ago. So it's all about to weaken us, because when we're divided, we're weakened and they can dominate. It's a simple strategy, but very effective, and they they use it repeatedly in all areas, in all spheres. And I think that's one of the things that we have to really understand. As Middle Beltans, as Igbos or Biafrans and Yorubas or Dudua, whatever we want to call ourselves, what we need to be very aware of is that their plan is predicated on divide and rule. And those who taught them, the colonial masters, are with them in this plan every step of the way, because they know the benefits of what they're doing. They get benefits from having this divide and rule, where the people who own those resources cannot work together and stop this injustice. So it is really, really important to understand the subtleties of this system, this horrendous system. To us, it is a terrible system. To them, it's a success. And that's the mindset we need to look at. To us, it's a horrible system, because we are being denied our access to be able to our resources and our land, to be able to grow at our own pace, very much like Honorable Ogaraku said. But what to them, the fact that they're able to stop and in fact regress our progress, that for them is a success that they want to build on. And we need to actively ensure that our people understand that and break it up. So yeah, that's what I like to say. Go ahead, Jane. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's kind of talk about some of the things that qualifies as a state, and I'm not referring to the states in Nigeria. I'm referring to a state that is considered to be, like a nation, a state that is considered to be like a government, state, an autonomous government state, right? A self-governing body, right? Yeah. So that's what we're referring to here, state, nation, and sometimes it's used interchangeably, and I'm trying to kind of bring it here just so that it is not confusing to people. So Ogorako, if you want to kind of talk about a few of the things that is the criteria to determine what a state or a nation is, and then we can, just so that people can understand the difference between, when we talk about the difference between, the states that we have in Nigeria and the regions and how they qualify as nations. So Honorable, if you want to walk us through this and just kind of go through the items, that would be great. I know you talked about some of it, but I think some of these things are important enough for people to really understand what they are.
Before I come into this criteria, let me take us to some of the other institutions that exist that helps us to see how our identities are recognized. In the Catholic institution, which is one of the oldest institutions in the world, certain group of people are referred as patriarchs. When the church gets to these places, they don't normally impose all their systems in them, but when they see their systems are well originated and has all the substance that is required as a religion, they acknowledge them to contain what they had in the system. That's why you go to India, you see them wear their cloth differently than the way it is done in Rome or even in our Nigeria. Yeah, in Africa, mostly they influenced us, and then everything we had was evil, and all they had was right. But other places that had consistent culture and had a kind of resistance, they were able to get this. Even here in Venice, where I stayed for some time, the head of the church there, the bishop, who was supposed to be called bishop, is called the patriarch of Venice. This is because the people are known particularly for a given purpose, and they are allowed to do things in their cultural way, still represent the Catholic faith. This is to bring us back down to what is state. State is not what you stay in a map or even run from the aeroplane on the map and say, okay, even the same way they balkanized Africa. I think the same mentality came in to Nigerians when they are making states. Remember when they were in Germany in 1888 to balkanize Africa, it is a matter of, one said, I like this mountain. Another one said, I like this island. Another one said, I like this. This is how Africa were balkanized. Nothing was considered. Then people were dragging borders of what I want, what I didn't want, or what was given to me, what wasn't given to me. But that is not the essence of a state. That's not the essence of a nation. A state must be a people that knows themselves. Sometimes it's mostly, even in America today, if you look at their own cases, they create a space and make sure that there's a culture that governs it. Either there's a culture that is influenced to that, and then if you like, you remain. If not, you are allocated to where you feel you like. In our own case, you are located wherever, and then you are kept there. Just like I said, minorities of Igbos are seen in almost 6 states than even the number of states that are called Igbos today. Let's leave that apart. So a state supposed to have a control over its own resources, because the resources is the source of the economy, and the economy is the source of the sustenance, and the sustenance is your future. When, remember recently, the governor of Edo State informed us how they go to Abuja, print money and share. That's why most leaders of Nigeria today are no longer even in their own states, but lives in Abuja, because it is where the resources are shared, or because what you call resources now is money that is coming from whatever. The little they came out, bring out to be shared. They share it, and then even people, you go back to even to Abuja to get things from them if you want. The place they call their state, they cannot be there, either because they are not in control of what they claim to have won.
No.
Most of them came in from the back door, as you can see. So first of all, the state must be independent of external direction much, because you must have to be able to know what you have, govern it, manage it, and then use it to get the best for your own people. At the time, because of the so-called federation we are talking about, there are certain limit of things you give out, but it's supposed not to. In fact, it's supposed not to be more than. It's supposed not to be your percentage of what you control must be more than what you give out. That will make you independent, because that simply means in that case you can sustain in case of even if the external attempt fails.
Yeah, I think I don't remember the percentage. Was it 15% that they were contributing to the census?
15%, yes.
Yeah, I think it was 15%. And now they have no control of the assets. So let's talk about the criteria, right? Because Overreach has given some great examples, right? Yeah. Because you have to be self-governing and autonomous, right? You have to have self-governance. You have to have the control of your assets. And we know that the exclusive, the 68-item exclusive list and the 30-item semi-exclusive takes away lots of resources, pretty much all of the resources from the states, right? You have to have control of the progress of your people, right? You have to have control of who you associate with. You have to have your own constitution. You have your own leaders, right? Either they're presidents or premiers or, under the parliamentary system. Yeah. You have to control your own elections, right? No one is going to come from outside to control your elections. And as Overreach says,
let me help you here.
You have to be independent financially, right? Yeah. And Overreach, you made a great point as to how, the governors are living in Abuja, right? But what have they done in addition to that now with the amendments with the local government areas? AY, you remember what they did with the local government areas?
Oh, yes.
Amendment?
Yes. What they're now trying to do is to overreach, get INEC to bypass the state and go straight to the local government and influence. And they can actually get people. They can get a Fulani man who just speaks one word of the local language to be representing the people, the indigenous people of that area. That
Which
is
they have been doing in the middle belt, right? Yes, they have been installing all those leaders in the middle belt. That has been happening for years, which is why you see the killing of monarchs, right? Of the indigenous people, and then they install Fulani people in their place, right? Yeah. But what they're doing with the local government is that now it has to report directly into the federal government, bypassing the state government.
That's it.
And that never happens. Exactly. Because the state government is supposed to have charge over their local governments. And that's what existed in 60, 63, and 1966. And which is why a lot of people are saying correctly that the Federal Republic of Nigeria died in 1966. And it has not been revived
resurrected,
yet, right? Because the fraudulent constitution is carrying forth, the policies of a military regime that is based on apartheid, injustice, inequity, and now genocide, right? Indeed, so that's part of the things that we have to remember. And AY and I were talking about let's take a look at how the regions stack up, right? Let's just take a look at some of the criteria and see how the regions stack up. AY, do you want to walk us through this one?
Yeah. So the regions now. So it's a regional autonomy: Eastern, Western, Middle Belt, North and Middle Belt. Midwest 1963 Middle Belt was as follows: self-governing, autonomous, control of the assets, control of their borders, control of progress, control of who they're associated with, own constitution. Listen to those words again. Their own constitution, own leaders, own elections. Now that is a real autonomy, and that was exactly what was happening. And that was why you were able to see region like Western region flourish and have cocoa house and have education and have healthcare and have all of these things, because that region was operating at its own optimum level, devoid of any interference from the north. You know, likewise, the Middle Belt and the Midwest was also developing, and the North realized this. So that's why they were hurriedly trying to ensure that they pegged back our development. So that's just one example now. Control of their own of our borders, you know, control of our assets, you know, assets in terms of mineral reserves and everything else in between. All of that. Now, so says
right. Let me just make a quick comment as to the fact that the oil in the South, right,
yes,
belongs to Nigeria, but Zamfara gold belongs to Zamfara. Yes,
it is. That is, you see, this is the sickening thing. That is why
that's what's called apartheid.
It is apartheid, because this is actually and you know what is actually sickening about it? They actually were clever. They devised an apartheid, and what do they call it? They said it's a quota system to support the underdeveloped.
Yes.
That is exactly what they did. So you see the way they twisted the word, because I used to think, oh, quota system, and when you asked around, people said, oh, it's because the North was underdeveloped, not knowing that it was actually for the North to gain access, to bypass the local people, deny the local people access to their own resources. Exactly. So it is very important to understand when Jean says it's apartheid, to understand how they carried this out in plain sight. They just simply changed the name in front of us instead of thinking it's an apartheid and we could all be out, we quota system. So it engendered us to feel sorry for them, when in actual fact, we should all have raised we should be up in arms going, no way, this is wrong. So the use of the words in keywords and how they use that has actually really, they've been very clever in how they use those words. Look, for example, I'm just going to do a little segue here. Look at the word bandits. You know, they say bandits, but in actual fact, they are terrorists. Now, when you hear bandits, what that means is psychologically you drop your guard. Oh, they're just bandits, they're local. And that is what it's designed to do. That is what it is designed to do, to make sure that we drop our guard. That is again what quota system was designed to do. Like Jean said, it's an appetite. It's an outright appetite. But when they change that word, they say take that word away. It's too obvious. Put quota system. People will be wondering what that word is. Oh, it's to help them. Suddenly you accept it. You are actually being subtly, psychologically subsumed to accept what is actually a threat to your own existence and your generations to come. So anyway, so go back to what we were saying there.
But that is all very germane. Even the police force, right? The police force, the regions had their police force. It was in 1979, I believe, that they now nationalized it and made it, like centralized that, right? And took it away from the states. So the governors don't have any way of securing their people, right?
No way.
And then as Ogaraka mentioned, the regions were paying to the central government. The central government was not paying the regions because the regions were self-governing and autonomous, right?
Exactly.
And so had control of that. Now we're talking about apartheid, and we can just kind of talk about it here a little bit. Because one of the things that happened is that the creation of those local government areas, we've given this example several times as to what happened with Kano and Lagos, and how, Lagos stays at 20, but if you add up every state that broke away from Kano, that one unit now has over 100, right? The old Kano, when you added all the pieces, Jigawa and what's the other one that was broken off, it has over
Zamfara.
100, and Lagos still has only 20. But here, let me give you guys. There's something I'm going to read here so that you guys can talk about it. Okay. So one of the things that we have is the composition of the Senate and the House of Representatives, right? So Sokoto State used to have 3 senatorial seats. Kano State used to have 3, and Lagos also had 3.
Yeah.
With the carving of Sokoto and Kano to 6 states.
Exactly.
So Sokoto now becomes 3 states.
3 states.
Kano now becomes 3 states. So now a total of, instead of 2 states, we have 6 states.
6 states.
Those 2 states, as amended, now have 18 seats.
There you go. And this is
18
where
18 seats. We're talking about apartheid, right? They now have 18 seats. So
Indeed.
that's what they were dividing those states, right? So one is to conquer, divide and conquer the indigenes. The second is to give more representation to the north, right?
North.
So Lagos,
exactly.
Lagos, with its verified 29 million human populations, is starred with just 3 seats.
Indeed.
While Kano now has 9 and Sokoto has 9. These are facts that people need to hear about, right? These
over and over.
Because we are now states and we have no control over all of this, because the Fulani controlled government and their backers have done this. Okay, now let's talk about the holding of elections. Okay, so I looked up in history, and it is very hard to find this information even online. It took me forever just to find the information on the regions. Okay, and that's one of the things that we have to kind of go back and start getting all these historical records and populating them on the internet, so our young people will have access to it. Okay, that's one of the things that we need to be doing. But you know, the parliamentary elections, that's at the central government level. They held their election December 30, 1964. But now, like the regional election, when the Western region held their election on October 11, 1965. And that's when the Chief Samuel Akintola was re-elected as a prime minister of the Western region. See, our people don't even know that we had prime ministers, because they were he is in charge of that nation, the Western region. And they had their own election, separate from the election of the Eastern region, separate from the election of the Midwestern region, separate from the election of the Northern region. So again, if we're asking, do regions qualify as nations, we will have to say yes, because they held their own elections and had their own prime ministers, right? But again, like I said, this information is so hard to find on the internet.
Well done. Kudos for that finding.
Educate our young people on this fact. So I'll let you guys chime in. But I did want to bring up how the senatorial states, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we're talking about democracy, right? We'll talk a little bit more about that, because that's when that really pops out and really makes it easy for us to see if there is democracy going on in Nigeria. Okay. So do you guys have any comments to make on the elections or the leadership of the various regions?
Well, I think the very fact of the success, one of the things that I would state, the success of the Midwestern region and the Western region, the success was something that was plain for all to see.
Absolutely.
And there was some report somewhere saying that the North was literally bankrupt, and that was one of the reasons that they were trying very hard to hang on to our coattails, to hold us back, to keep us back in. And of course, there was more and more resources that kept coming in. So those premiers, they had to find a way to halt that progress. And it usually is going for the top, whereby the people that are in control, and weakening that strength, and then doing that layer by layer right down the chain of command, and then replacing it with things that they could control. So that's what I wanted to say about that issue. And of course, the elections were very much rigged. One of the things that we found was that the seats and the number of seats, like you said, even before the
even before the 1999,
thank you.
Yes.
So they were all rigged, you know, and
because Harold Smith, right? Was it Harold Smith that blew the lid on that?
That's
right?
correct. Yeah, exactly.
Recently, okay.
So it is really important for us to understand when we're talking about elections, even from then. And so you could see that there's a link from what the colonials did, and they simply carried on from what the colonials did and deepened this injustice. So when one can argue that the whole electoral process that we've been going through has been flawed from day one. Again, it's being sold to us as an electoral process, i.e., by saying elections and it's free and fair and all that stuff. You kind of say, you are saying that we are a democracy. We are nothing of the sort. We have never been anything of the sort because they've been trying to hold us back. And it's important for us to go back and reference the Western and Midwestern region at the time when we had our own autonomy was where the highest growth and development we've ever had in the country. Since then, we've been held back. I read something yesterday. Indonesia is the largest producer of palm oil. Indonesia.
Yes.
The largest producer. And Indonesia came to Nigeria and they actually, what's the word? They actually came to learn about how to make palm oil. Now they are the largest producer. Can you imagine that?
Exactly.
And you can see, and you can actually see the correlation between the time when they started taking the powers away from us and the decline of our production of resources and of our palm oil and things like that in our land. So there is a direct, you could see that it actually altered the development of the Midwest and the Western region. So these are things when we talk about elections, it really has serious ramifications. So I'll stop there. And let's hear from Honorable Ogaraku. Thank you.
Honorable, did you want to chat?
Yeah. You're muted. Unmute yourself, please.
The issue still remains. When we have people of different ideologies, different cultural inclination, different religious inclination, and there was no honest attempt to marry these differences. Instead, they are using this for political purposes. Yeah. That's what kept Nigeria where it is.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen, guys, just so that when we're talking about
yes,
what's going on.
Go ahead.
Yes.
No, to take a look at the screen, AY, that should make you very excited.
Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, so, yeah. Exactly. I saw I had $2 billion to train, equip Bauchi youths with smartphone repair skills.
Smartphone repair, 6.2 billion. I say this is how we are funding terrorists.
Exactly.
6.2 billion.
Exactly.
To train Bauchi youth on how to repair smartphones. 6.2 billion. That's enough to train a heck of a lot of people through their whole university. Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And then you see where it is. It's in Bauchi, right? That's where it is. What have they done for the for the south and for the middle belt? Where is the equivalent for the south and the middle belt? Right.
Let me just conclude or try to make my point. You see, I still look up there now. Whenever you go out there, see how police treats everybody. They only look at you if they feel you have some substance in you, they give you a little regard, if ever. Yeah. And then those regard is when if you are not politically, if you are not a political enemy, because if you're a political enemy, you have a different approach as well. However, in the public, nobody cares about the life of what right have somebody has to beat up somebody on the road?
No way.
Right?
None.
Right.
You don't know his medical state.
Exactly.
You don't know his physical state. You beat him up.
You see, those are the signs that tells you that we are not a democracy. When somebody
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. The whole idea is to leadership of intimidation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then their leader have told you, put fear in them. Show them that nothing can happen. In fact, they see a lot of police officers will tell you, I will shoot you, you die, nothing will happen.
Exactly.
A lot says that.
Absolutely.
In 2022, we are talking about, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that colonial and slavery leadership has been incultured in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And that's the only way minority can rule you. Because if we were allowed with the true democracy and where transparency and good governance is in place, definitely it must be somebody of integrity and number to rule.
Yeah.
Now people don't even look for their people to get these primaries. They look for Abuja, who they bless to win in each of the Senate seats, governor seats. Nobody makes much attempt. Who goes around in the states? Actually, look at America where we learn democracy. What they do? It takes them years to do the primaries. The primaries is what they do.
Yeah.
To get the nomination as a president. It is only when you get this and then it is confirmed by the House. Right. It's not when maybe if you want to contest for governor, you run to the president to tell him I want to contest for governor. If you want to contest president, you go to the president to tell him I want to contest for president. Yeah. What is his role? Is it your ideology and your your political leverage that will take you to power, or his blessings? And why are you going there? It's just to look for those political leverage for you to support. That's why poor people don't normally go into politics.
They can afford. Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Right? Let's just talk about that real quick.
APC has 100 million.
Yep.
Yes. For a nomination form.
Okay. Right. When the annual salary is what, 56? Or is it? Oh, salary for the 4 years is supposed to be 56 million, right? But then you have the nomination.
So at this point, who do you think will go for that? There's
no youth.
No way. No way.
No.
And that's why everybody in the political class, they try to make sure that they raise this salary, allowances, this and that, to make more money just for this.
Right.
Recently, look at our exchange rate. Nigeria has Naira has appreciated so much. Do you know why? All the hidden money are coming out.
Yes, absolutely.
All the hidden money are coming out. It's not only the 1 million they will pay to their party.
No.
They have also started paying for those that will vote in the delegates. So money is in circulation.
Yes.
Those money hidden in the toilets, those money hidden in the mattresses, those money hidden in their pants are now out. Sorry but that's how it is.
That is true. That is true.
So what are we saying again? Why we are the way we are is because there's no transparency, because those who are in government try to, one way or the other, find themselves as the governing class. So we have to protect ourselves. And so when you are in power, in fact, we had the law that when you are in power, you're mostly governor and I think the president and governor, they have immunity that they cannot be prosecuted. Now, even another governor has warned that even after power, you cannot be prosecuted.
Yeah, right.
Remember a law now that even
one of the
after
amendments that they wanted to put in place.
Yes, even after power, you cannot be. So you can do whatever you want with
money
and go scare-free. Then how can you get anything right, my dear brothers?
So that's why we say that the Constitution makes corruption official, right?
Yes,
that's why that's why we've been talking about the fact that the Constitution makes corruption official.
Yeah, it is the foundation. The Constitution is the foundation of the corruption, to be honest. This Constitution is the foundation of the corruption. It enables it. It actually protects those who carry out the corruption. And it actually, so go ahead.
Okay, if we can move on from that. So one of the things that we have now established is that the regions qualifies as a state or nation, which is why we were able to have the Federal Republic of Nigeria from 1960 to 1966. So in 1966, the Federal Republic of Nigeria died when we had the coup and the counter coup, and then the elimination of those regions and this rush to divide up the ethnic nations into these non-viable states that have absolutely no control, right? But let's talk about one more thing about the regions. Citizen AY, if you want to talk about this, because this is one of the things that we were talking about that is difficult to find online, but is an important piece of what distinguishes the regions from the states of today.
Indeed. Now, thank you very much, Jean. Now, if you look in the middle of that flag, there are what you call coat of arms. So the coat of arms are what you see there. So you would see the one for Western region, for example, is the one there, the first one that I'm hovering over.
Left, the top left.
Yes, exactly. Then show us the one for the Midwestern region, please. I think that's
Midwestern is here.
That's it. That's Midwestern region, and of course the one for
over here is the Eastern region.
Eastern region,
and then the Northern
and then
region.
Finally the Northern region.
And then so Nigeria, the central government had a separate.
They had a separate, which is with the one which we all know. We don't want the peace and unity across it, that kind of thing. So each and those coat of arms, they signify the autonomy, the power to actually be in control of all our assets, all our resources, everything. If you go and look at it now, they've removed that from all of the regions because, of course, they turned them into states.
Yeah.
And what that meant is that everything, the control, so you can see the control of the resources, the land, the police, everything is all centralized. And it is designed that way. It is designed that way. So these are the system that is in place here is designed to make sure that at every level, financially, economically, spiritually, security, in terms of security, everything is controlled from one region alone, the North. And the North now, under the cloak of, central government, they take everything. Just look at what we just said, 6.2 billion for training people to change phones. 6.2
to repair smartphone. This isn't even coding, right? It's not coding. It's not computer science, right?
It is clear. It is clear line. And also, what do you tell people in the middle belt? What do you tell the Southerners? Sorry, we will get to you.
Yes.
What is the message you're sending? But yet you want us to believe in one Nigeria. These are, look, I keep saying it. I have said it. I wrote something today. Let me just quickly make a reference point to what I typed, and I might even show it online. I show it at
you can show your screen.
Let me see if I can get this one up and show you something I did today. And it's just a simple question to get us to really think about what is really going on. And I would like somebody to answer that question. No doubt they won't provide the answer, but it's okay. The point is we want people to, let me just simply put this here. Let me see if I can, can I share?
Yeah, if you want to share, go ahead and share your screen.
So let me just for 1 second. Yeah, okay, let me just show you. I want you to just see that. So I'm gonna put it, I'll put it here, it's here. So now you can see that it says here, was the process through which the fraudulent 1999 constitution.
We seem to have lost your screen.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back. Sorry about that. I made a mistake. Sorry. So now the question is, what I'm saying here is, was the process through which the fraudulent 1999 constitution came about democratic? Yes or no? If yes, please provide evidence, i.e. a referendum. Because you see, everything that we're saying now, so that was a simple question right there. I'll stop the sharing now so that I will let others to see it as well on the other platform. 1 second, please. Stop. How does it? Yes, stop. Yeah. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm asking that question, the reason why I'm posing that question, I'm going to put it across the screen so others can see it. In fact, I need to do it one more way. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So now, the reason why I'm asking that question is that, you see, at some point, our people have got to really get into a mindset of questioning everything. We've been conditioned to accept what has been said by those who do not have the power to say anything to us because there is no basis, i.e. a referendum, upon which they can take those actions that they've taken. What they are doing is illegal. What they are doing is, and what they're continuing to do is illegal. A government spending 6.2 billion naira on teaching people how to change smartphones in the north at the expense of us in the south. I mean,
who are producing most of the money.
Exactly. You know, let me add this. Let me add to this as well. When we sort of, they said to us, don't produce, you cannot have alcohol in the north. But the money, the VAT returns from the alcohol that we're making in the north, they will take it from, they will happily collect it and use it to run the economy.
But they said that Islam allows them to take the money, even if I saw some write-up online.
Really? So it allows them to take the money? Really? So
yes,
what are we?
There was a response to it online where they said that there was this convoluted thing as to how the Islam allows them to.
I'm sorry, that is just a nonsense. So
yeah, let's talk about what, because you talking about that brings up the issue of the Hisbah police in the north. They have a police that is not at the federal level. However, the middle belt and the south don't have any police that they control.
We have a Motekun, but they even restrict the movement of that and our ability to protect ourselves severely. And that is just it's almost like a window shop,
right? They are not
exactly. That's exactly the point.
Nor do they walk about as Hisbah does and doing all these things that they are doing, right?
No.
Okay.
So these are the things that we really must, and I must really try and home in on. We encourage people to think. Please think for yourselves. Those regions there, the fact that the minute they took away the coat of arms, it signified that there was only one coat of arms that was very important, and that was the Nigerian one, the central one. In the olden days, power was concentrated in the regions, so they were able to develop at their own pace. Now they've taken the power to the center, and they are strangling the indigenous people. They are literally strangling us, and we cannot continue to take this. Again, I asked that question. Please, if you tell us that we're a democracy, and you say to us that we are able to grow, we live in one Nigeria, and they say Nigeria is one indivisible. Who gave you the authority to tell us that we are one indivisible? Absolutely. Where's the referendum? Absolutely. Where's the referendum upon which that is based? You cannot. They make a statement that has no relevance or basis. The basis for any unity has to be the voice of the people by way of a referendum where the people collectively said, right, we're going for this. And the people of Nigeria has done that only once. Let me tell you when that was. When they voted for MKO Abiola. And that one time when that was done, the military silenced MKO. They annulled the freest and fairest election ever.
Yes.
Ever. And they now put this on top of us. And I begin to wonder when I see many of our so-called intellectuals who are seeing what is going on, but for crumbs are quiet. And I feel really, really sad that you say you are educated.
Complicity. I mean, again, the old saying, right, AY, that says those who are benefiting from a corrupt system see nothing wrong with it. They just continue, and which is why, when we're talking about no 2023 election, because the politicians, it doesn't matter whether they're PDP, APC, NIP, whatever they call themselves, they have proven year after year after year after year that they don't care about the masses. It's only during election time that you see them coming out.
They come out. Yes.
You see all the Northerners and the other people wearing the Igbo red shirt and hat. You see. I saw. Was it Osibanjo pumping gas?
Yeah. It's a joke. It's a joke. Wow, all of it. I mean, the other day, I saw Tinubu was in Mecca, and they were saying Allah something. Tinubu is going to be the president. And I'm looking at these people and I'm thinking, are you serious? today, do you know that there was a meeting between Ahmed Lawan, APC governors, and PDP presidential candidate Atiku? They were in discussions together, as you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. It doesn't matter what's they're all on one side. The political elite that is eating up the up the wealth of the nation and have thrown over 100 million people into abject poverty.
Exactly.
They have thrown, while they are riding Rolls Royces and having private jets, homes overseas, go overseas for their medical treatment. Their children go to school overseas. They are eating up the fat of the land. They're eating up all the money in Nigeria, so that the people do only get. They're not even getting crumbs.
No,
they're not even getting crumbs. And I saw this note, and I don't know how accurate it is, that says that Boko Haram is being paid, I think it's 65,000 naira a month. And then I think the bandits are being paid 45, while the indigenous people that own this money can't even get 30,000 a month.
I fail to see how anybody can support this kind of system. And it is borne out. And again, so does the state qualify as state nations? That is a good question that you're asking there. Phone along, the questions that what we're putting to you now is really telling us that from whichever way you care to look at this is a fraudulent governance from top to bottom.
Can you please look at the table for us? If you can kind of walk us through the table and walk the people through the table so they can see the difference as to what we talked about with regards to the regions and how the states stack up, with the same criteria.
I don't know if I think he's muted. Are you there, Oriaku? Can you join us? Oh, sorry, 1 second, please. Let me just.
Ogaraku, you need to unmute.
Let's
Ogaraku, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, we're asking that if you can, just gonna go down the table on the right, if you can go down the criteria and the answer to it so that the people will understand, because this is asking to the states that we have qualified.
No, I think how I wish our listeners and those who are following us, I don't think they have access to this screen share, but they should ask this question. Do we have a self-governing state? No. Because governors goes to Abuja according to governor of the state. That's an announcement he made, but which is the realities. To share printed money. That's what he said, printed money.
Yeah.
And that's why our economy is too bad. Because they print without attaching it to any value. So just to have it separated.
They don't have.
If then the states, it depends on this type of environment to get their money. Are they autonomous? No, they are not. That's why everybody runs to the president. If that's cleaning your state, instead of you doing something as a chief security officer of the state, you run to the president to ask him, they're killing my people, and they will tell the president is sleeping.
And nothing happens, right? We've seen Benue governor, right?
Yes, they will tell the president is sleeping, and we come out after 24 hours to welcome you. Then those people who are killing your people have killed them, raped them, do whatever they want, and go their way.
Yes.
That's only before they would think of sending you security, and then they come in there and they arrest people they see there. Even they arrest the people who may have come in to defend their own people.
Exactly. That's exactly what they do. They arrest the victims and let the perpetrators go away.
Get away.
Okay. Does what we have today as a state have a constitution? No. Nigerian states as they have today don't have constitution. What they have is state laws. So for you to have a constitution, you must be a nation. So to be a state, which is a fraction of existing order, what you have is the law. Law is a kind of repeating what is given to you as a statute of a state. Then you as your local assembly acknowledge them as a system of governance. That makes it law. It's not a constitution. All right. Others are control of education. Look at it. you have what is called federal system, federal quota system. Where somebody from the southeast generally will have 70% of JAMB and West as well to go to university. And somebody who in another state will have less than 10 to join the same university.
6.
The ugly aspect of it is the same people who joined with less than 10% to the university will be the same person who will come back to tomorrow to be the chief of army staff, chief of air staff,
and leader of
justice of the federation, head of the NNPC. Okay, then the same person who had the sister 70 to enter university comes out and then couldn't get a job and then start going to drive keke. What word is that? What word do we have? Okay, defend areas and historic map. I have told you before now where Igbos are seen in Benue, in Kogi, in Edo, in Delta, in Bayelsa, in Cross River State. Then,
Cross River.
Who this territory now, let me put it this way. The people who owns the state now, will they claim those people to be their people?
No.
I saw our famous brother, Amechi, who said, hey, I'm Ikwere man. You know Ikwere man is Igbo man.
Exactly.
Yes.
But he's wanted to say that it's not Igbo because a few years ago, he said that Igbo will never be president in Nigeria.
Because some of them have been brainwashed, but let's leave that one for another day. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I remember, just like he rightly said, before the 3 regions and which later becomes the 4 regions had what is called the governors and the premier. Okay?
Right.
Just like it was a parliamentary system, complete parliamentary system.
Yeah.
All right? Where the governor appoints the premier, and the premier becomes the head of government that governs the state, and the governor is the head of government. Okay? Right. And thereby, it is this representation that comes in as a confederated body and what was then called Nigeria. Today in the state, we have a governor and whatever, even if it's a presidential system, does the parliament, what we call the state House of Assembly, has such a constitutional composition? No, they make laws. Okay. Police system. In the recent time, we have seen because of the lack of security for the people, all the states are clamoring for state security.
Exactly.
Even though I don't even know at the end, does it make meaning? Because if you look at the day the governor of Ebonyi State was inaugurating his, he made it very clear, you are stooge to the president. That's what the whole statement means. You are stooge to Nigerian police. The Nigerian police will tell you what to do. Exactly. And then because you are indigenous, it makes it easy for you to go and locate your own people, even when they are defending their own right. That's why you go to the Southeast now, you see people fighting. We are catching the IPOBs. They are the people. Yeah. Then IPOB are looking for the so-called embargoes. Then all these issues, we don't even know who to follow anymore. And you know what goes into this issue of security networks. Some people create what they want just to impress the people that we are doing something.
Right.
People are victims. Instead of defending the people, they are killing the people.
Right.
Payment of central government, yes. If most of the resources, 90% of the resources of the states have been taken by as exclusive list, then you have to go back there to ask for your share. What you get out of it? What is given to you is what you take home. Unfortunately, or even you have to pay to get what you should get. Yeah. Unless it is also shared. And then these are shared as well according to the so-called number of local government, number of states, and we have spoken much about how the state creation was made, not representing what seems to be the actual structural setup, but states who were supposed to be a homogeneous arrangement are now divided into interests just to create more political opportunities, and thereby influencing how decisions in the national and state assemblies, or not most of the national assemblies, are made, because more representative or more legislative offices are coming from a given area than another area. And sometimes in most of these legislations, you need only a simple majority to win. So what do? That simple means you are not bound to
as we talked about earlier, Honorable, when we talked about the fact that Sokoto now has 9 Kano State has 9, they have 18, and Lagos that has
Lagos, who remains
population,
it still remains there. And the population of Lagos is growing fast and fast every day.
Yes.
I still remember when I got to Lagos in 1994, and 1994, if you enter Molue bus in areas like Alaba International Market, it will take you direct to CMS and then goes down to what do you call it, Island, and turn back and return back. I was there in less than 2 years. Buses can, in fact, Molue doesn't go anymore. Buses run from Alaba to Vokes, from Vokes to Yanopaja, from Yanopaja to Maitu, from Maitu to somebody going to work. I used to work in Fly Mills then. Somebody going to work to that area will change bus 4 times. 4. And I don't know how many they do change now. Is this a system that works?
No way. No.
And then the population is growing every day, because why they were able to do that is because they had passengers that will always stop in just small areas. Yeah. But if it is a place that's progressive, they should know that there is people who are going far and people going low, and then you create this road, not only just the bus system, but as well a road system that will take care of this. So the states are no longer in control of nothing. No. And just like the governor of Edo State rightly said, they go to the Abuja to share money, printed money as well.
It is. And you know, when you talk about printed money, and this is where people, this is unfortunately the brainwashing that has really taken place on those, and you begin to see that the people that are being put into positions of political positions and positions of of power are people that are really very, very poor in their thinking. They're not able to reason and see the big picture of the impact of the actions that they take on not only themselves, but the entire community in the long run, because all they see is that paper. But what they fail to realize is that the resources beneath their feet is far more value than that paper. That paper is just a way to delude them, to make them to sort of feel powerful. They did something to Azikwe when he was going to be made the president, and they took powers from him and they gave it to Tafawa Balewa. You'll hear Ian Smith talk about this. What they did was that they said, "Oh, look, we are going to make some changes to this to the powers of the president." Oh, but no. But we'll give you medals. We'll give you wear a nice, fine, very nice, colorful something. Will you have medals? And and he had to agree to it. And that power was taken and given to Tafawa Balewa, the premier. So he was just, in reality, he became a lame duck president, a man without powers. It was all ceremonial. It was purely ceremonial. And that is what is happening to many of those who think that they have real power. Oh, I'm governor this. Oh, I'm senator that. Oh, was it not on APC that they killed a man it's not a Boeing. Is it a Boeing? They killed an APC man, a honorable. He was killed. People jumped over the fence, went into his house, and killed him in the house. That is a warning sign for all of these so-called efulefus. I'm sorry to wake up I'm sorry, and realize that, you see, when they are hailing you, they are hailing you because you are doing what they want, and they are trying to position you to a point. As soon as they finish using you, they get you out of the way.
Almost half an hour, Gala, we didn't see people joining. So thank you. Hello?
So let me just mute. I'll mute my brother there. Can you mute him over there just while he's talking?
Yeah, I have. So let's kind of move on. Yeah. Let's move on and talk about the does Nigeria qualify as a federal government? So what I have here is some definitions that kind of walks us through what is a federal and what is a unitary system. A lot of people don't know that Nigeria is unitary, right?
Thank you. That's it.
So Nigeria is called a federal government.
It's not federal.
However,
to be honest,
right? Let's look at what a unitary system is. A unitary system, which is on the far left here.
Yes.
It has a national government, and then it has a state government, which is what we have in Nigeria. And it says concentrated power, centralized authority, right? So in Nigeria, it was really centralized. And then with the amendment, they are now taking the local government and even centralize it into the federal government, when the citizens are calling for decentralization. The Buhari led government, the Fulani controlled government, are now centralizing it even more instead of decentralizing as people are coming from. So the federal system is one where the people actually are in charge. So you've got a state government and a national government, and there's divided power, which is what we had in 1960 to 1966. Which is why we're saying that federal government died in 1966. Tony Nadi has been talking about that, but we're bringing this up here just so that people can understand what we're talking about, right? Because the federal system divides power. There are only certain things that the federal government has control over, and then the state government, or in our case, the regions, as they were before, now had autonomy and self-governance over most of everything, right?
Exactly.
Where now everything is at the federal level. Everything has to be at the federal level.
It's
so
sickening.
If we look under here where we have this little scale, the federal government has two-level government. There are two levels. What we have in Nigeria right now, we don't have two levels because we've already determined that the state government, right, under the unitary, has no power, no self-governance, no autonomy. It doesn't have a constitution. It doesn't own the assets. It doesn't.
It's just a ceremonial. It's a ceremonial.
It doesn't have its flag and its coat of arms. It has nothing.
It's been stripped. It's been stripped of everything. Stripped.
So when we go through this, and this is important, you know, so our people will understand, and I'll figure out how to post it on Twitter, and we can put it on Facebook as well. So our people can kind of go through this and understand, right? Nigeria is a unitary government.
It is.
Calling a unitary government a Federal Republic of Nigeria is an oxymoron.
It is.
Doesn't make any sense. A unitary government with everything centralized at the center cannot be the federal government. It just cannot be. So I'll let you guys talk a little bit on this.
Just I think everything that Jean said is spot on. One thing I'd like to say is this. You see, when you now look at what is happening with the judiciary, with the legislative, and the central government, the federal government, you know, what you see is the collapse of the power. The power is in the hands of the government. So you have the government, you have the legislature, you have the federal government. Yes. So that power now is being concentrated in one area. When you have a national government, that national government under a unity system, you might have a state, but the government is controlling every aspect of the nation from the center. That is what we have. So the senators, the House of Reps, they are not able to voice or speak for their own people because the central government is dictating what they are supposed to say to everybody. There is no freedom of speech. You are controlled. You are told this is what you're going to do. There is no coat of arms, very much like Jim said. Everything has been taken away. The states, the local governments, they are purely ceremonial. In fact, the government, whilst deepening the centralized nature of the governance, they are talking to you. Oh, yes, we are going to make the local government will become accountable. State government will be. But there is no, the laws that are being passed is different from what the government is saying. The laws that are, so if you see, there's a twin track approach. On one hand, they are talking and making a lot of noise. The noise is designed to distract you from the reality of the bills that they've been told. Mark my words, those senators and the House of Reps there is no freedom of speech. They are told what to do and they have to do it, or it has consequences on their lives.
Absolutely.
The man, Mark Wheeler, I will keep going back to that. The minute Mark Wheeler was stopped from tabling a motion for the Benue people, the thief people in Benue, by Ahmed Wase and Femi Gbajabiamila, the so-called Speaker of the House could not caution and control the Deputy Speaker of the House to say, what you are doing goes against our constitution. Yeah. That is the point I knew that, look, any idea that you are thinking we are one nation, that we are a democracy is a joke. Everything has been collapsed. This is a unitary system. This is a unitary system and we need to wake up. We need to do everything in our powers now to, first of all, I'm just going to just a quick suggestion, a segue, a little segue. Please, we need to secure the lives of our people because we need them in each of our communities. They will be the ones who will carry out that referendum in each of those areas. And that referendum, once we declare it to the world that the people, they carried out this, they've carried out the referendum showing they want to go. Nobody on this planet can stop us. The government knows that. That is why they're trying to clear as many of us out of our, the indigenous people out of our land. It is very simple. Their strategy is simple. If you clear them, they cannot vote. So this is why we're saying we have the power to make this change. But we need to get vigilante groups on ground to protect us so that we can actually take the next step. So anyway, I'll stop there for now. Let's somebody else, let's hear from somebody else. But like I said, one thing I will just state again is to make sure people understand that what we have is a unitary system. When they tell you it's a federal system, it's a lie. It's all a pack of lies. It's designed to confuse you, to make you believe in a lie, to make you believe very much that the Constitution is a lie. In one section of the Constitution, it says that the decree may be titled, may be deemed to be the Constitution, putting aside the schedule. That, I mean, we are under military rule.
Yes.
We are under military rule, which is a unitary system of governance. It's time we woke up. We must go. Okay, I'll let you proceed. Just, do you want me to?
Okay, so you pretty much know. We don't have to go over it because I think that we have pretty much said that. So okay. I'm gonna stop sharing because I want to bring up. I don't know if you have it, Ayo. I don't know if you have the, that document that shows what areas that the Fulani are controlling in the government. I don't know if you have that. I'm gonna check because I think that's important as we're talking about democracy. Yeah, it's really important for our people to see, what is actually going on, who is actually controlling what's going on in Nigeria. I know we've looked at this several times. We have. What I'm trying to find is the one that shows. It's not just the state that they come from.
What is it called? What's it called again?
That's the one that let's see. That's the one where it shows the top 4 revenue producing and the fact that they are all controlled by Fulani.
I'm not sure if I've got that to hand directly.
Yeah, I'm just looking over here. I'm trying to see if I can find it right quick.
Okay.
So that we can show that, because I think that just goes to show, clearly to our people, what the, what we're actually facing,
Yes.
It really goes to show what we are actually facing, and it's not a good thing, right?
Do you know, let me, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, go ahead. AY, go ahead.
I wanted to just put a little thing in here because people didn't understand what is really happening here. Adamu suggested something that if he was voted in, he will be changing the name of Nigeria. He will be changing it to something else. And what that means, people may just think, oh, that's good, yeah, change it. But it is again to fulfill their own agenda. It will be a Fulanized nation.
Absolutely.
And what Jean is saying here is that all of the centralization, all of the taking of the assets, all of these controls, and depriving us as Southerners and Middle Beltans of access to those resources, and putting us in impoverishing us as indigenous people, is designed to weaken us psychologically, physically, mentally, in all ways. And the systems that they're building is to build and build more to crush us, literally. So it's very important that we understand that the need for us to take action is more urgent than ever. And we have the power to make that change. We have the power to take those steps, but we have to first make sure our people are aware that those powers is with us. Like I said now, I go back to the point I made before. The government that we have now, they do not have a referendum to back that constitution. All of the successive government that we have now, it has been a fraud, because they all swear on oath to protect that fraudulent constitution. Okay, restore. Is that the one you're talking about now?
Yes.
Okay,
let's go ahead and go down this list. We're talking about democracy. Let's go down this list. Because we know in that fraudulent constitution that federal character is unenforceable. They have put in that fraudulent constitution, you cannot enforce federal character. Because I know there was a group from the East that wanted to go and file suit that there was no federal character, and then they were shown the constitution that says that you cannot, the court will not hear any cases, just like the court won't hear any cases that you bring indicating that citizen benefits are not being provided. And you can't do anything about it, because now the governors don't have to provide you benefits while they're in office and while they're out of office. So citizens, that's why we have 100 million living in abject poverty. We're talking about apartheid, serious apartheid. And those I have seen the UK, in the UK guys saying that this is not colonization because it is happening with people who are within Nigeria. I'm like, how disingenuous. The Fulani are not from Nigeria.
They're not.
They are not from Nigeria. Let me repeat. Fulani are not from Nigeria. So they are foreigners. And so
imposing themselves on us.
Colonization. Fulani invasion is colonization. It is colonization. It is apartheid. So let's take a look and see what they have done. You know, so Honorable or Citizen AY, if you guys want to talk about it and point it out, this is important for our people to see. It's so now important for the international community to understand when we're talking about apartheid and we're talking about our self-rule and self-determination, we have a basis for it. Go ahead.
Indeed. So now, what you see, it says here, restore indigenous Nigerian nation's stolen identity, sovereignty. 4 major ethnic sectors in the ethnic nationality heading it. NNPC, Fulani. Federal income resource, what's it called?
The
resource,
taxes.
NCS, national, I think it's security.
Yeah,
NPA,
just go ahead, just so that we can get through it quickly.
NPA, Fulani. The major spenders of ethnic nationality heading it. Defense, Fulani. Finance, Fulani. Education, Fulani. Justice, Fulani. FCT, Fulani. Agriculture, Fulani. Political affairs, police affairs, Fulani. Aviation, Fulani. Communication, Fulani. Power, Fulani. Water resources, Fulani. Human affairs, Fulani. Farmer, Fulani. NYSC, Fulani. PTDF, Fulani. NTA, Fulani. FAN, Fulani. Anti-corruption agencies, Fulani. EFCC, CPC. These are,
Unbelievable.
The more you look at this, sorry, please go back. Just go back on that. Let me just see.
Oh, okay.
And can you know what? Can you send that to me as well?
Oh, yeah. You actually have it. I had sent it to you before, but I'll resend it. I sent it to all of you guys because so that we can.
I'm not so sure if I'm gonna make sure I'm
resending it to you now, so you don't have to worry about.
So because you see, when you look at that list, the one thing you will get from that list is to be in no doubt that the agenda is a Fulanization of that nation. The Fulanization of that nation. And we haven't got time for division among ourselves as Middle Beltans, as Igbos, as Yorubas. Now is the time for us. This is staring us all in the face. In the division that they've created, they are deepening their powers to oppress and suppress us in our land. By uniting, we weaken them. Our unity weakens them because there will be nowhere for them to go because they cannot operate within us freely. And that's what you need to understand when we talk about unity. Unity is not just about talking about, oh, we're uniting. It's about the steps we take. When we unite, then it's difficult for them to carry out an action that will say a Fulani minister and all of this, because the steps that we're taking will weaken them. They will not feel that they are able to take those steps because they know that we are going to stand together and voice collectively against it. As it stands now, the states they created, the kind of political system they created, the structure that they've raised has so divided us that whilst we are busy fighting each other, they are cementing the power in their own hands. And one of the first things that we must do is when we unite, forget the political efulefus, the crooks, the onlys, the Arijenu Madaru, and all of this bunch of crooks who are in power. But the people on the ground, when we start protecting ourselves and we start exercising our democracy and our sovereignty in our land, because of the fact that the government has failed to provide safety and security for us, we are taking back our governance. And that is where referendum comes in. Very, very important. But to be able to do all those things, the indigenous people need to first harmonize themselves together so that they can be a force whereby those invaders who are on our land, they will have to think twice about going to any of the regions and think, oh, these guys, no. You know, and it is really the only option we have left. That is the only option. If we want to try and do it if one section wants to do it on their own and you think it will survive, they will simply go in and get the other two that are not with them and they will just be on your own. So, but if all the three of us must take that critical step together to begin to break down this hold that they have on us. And the thing is, what they're doing to us is a barefaced fraud. It's an effrontery. They are taking what is ours, making it theirs. They're doing a lot of changes and investing a lot of money from the south in the north. They're building refineries in the north. They're building rail tracks in the north.
All the gas pipelines going to
yes.
the north and going
yes.
to Mauritania.
Yes. So that they're going to Mauritania. They want to
refining our oil in
yes.
Niger.
Yes, exactly, and then bringing it back to us and selling it to us. I mean, this is
and the monopolies, the Dangote
yes.
monopolies of cement and
yes.
rice and all
yes.
kinds of stuff that's monopolized under
all of this.
Who is a Fulani?
Yes. Yeah. So our people, really, we do need to take a really the urgency is now. With that, honestly, time is of the utmost importance right now. We have a short time, but in which we need to really build this up. The awareness must continue. I try and do programs in broken English, and I try to do it in Yoruba, and and in English as well, to reach as many people as possible. These programs that you're watching now, if you can translate some of it, don't wait for us. You can do it yourself. You can take it on yourself. This is a task that every diasporan must take on. Like I said before in another show, every diasporan, you manage between 2 to 10 people, maybe up to 100. You are responsible for 2 to 10 people. Those 2 to 10 people manage another 100 people based on what you're sending back home. So that means that you have an influence that you can really begin to reach the people. Make use of that influence. Reach those people. Tell them what is really going on, because our people have been kept in the dark in our own country. Many people have been so conditioned to accept the injustice that they cannot raise their level of thinking because of the visible poverty that they face on a daily basis. But if we start being able to penetrate that, we've been able to provide certain things and reaching those who we can reach on ground as a collective, we can make significant inroads. This is not impossible. It isn't. In fact, we have the fact that they cannot look. They've tried to stop social media. They've tried all means to stop us from reaching our people.
And also arresting journalists.
Yes.
Okay, so let's try and finish up on time today.
Yeah. So
I'm just going to go quickly
go
through the plight, because you've mentioned some of that. Apartheid, genocide, over 100 million living in poverty, with almost 9 million at the verge of death as we speak.
Yes.
Let's not mention the 4 million that are in IDP camps, abandoned by the federal government, while they are giving money and ranches and everything to foreign Fulani,
in our own
foreigners, and nothing is going to the indigenes that own these assets. Talk about injustice, marginalization, and inequity, the economic strangulation. Talk about lack of citizen benefits, especially in the middle belt to the south, and then terror and death at the hands of Fulani herdsmen and other terrorists that they are working with, right? So now let's talk about what the international community can do. And these things that we're talking about are the things that we need to get the international community to do. So Honorable Ogaraku, can you kind of talk through some of these? And there's much more, but I just selected a few for us to talk through. So Honorable, if you can talk through this, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think not just saying, I'm making this appeal. You see, when people are under certain forms of pressures, as can be seen in Nigeria, the international community should not wait until when they see real war. But there is war already in Nigeria. Let that one be very clear.
Yes, there is undeclared
in Nigeria. Call it Cold War, call it silent war, call it political war. We have it. It's already in place. And because people are taking cognizance of the civil war we have had and have not rushed into outbreak of war, but look at what happened in Lekki. Look at what happens in all those IDP camps. Shows you that it's war. So the international community, just like they visited Ukraine and was able to go to see where there is a massive grave, they should go to Benue, Taraba, all those lines in the Middle Belt and know exactly what is happening. And then even in the Imo state of Nigeria, to see that that is Cold War going on right now.
Absolutely.
They should come in and make investigations, send delegates and see exactly what people are saying. Listen to people. Let them not wait until when we see blood flowing everywhere and when people take laws into their hands. We need to. Please, can you roll back the screen?
Yeah, I am. I just wanted to flash that up real quick.
Okay. So they should also sanction the government for killing indigenes and even mostly for their religious inclinations. Why are we talking all the time, the North, and then the Muslim, the Boko Haram? All these are forces of the Islamic movement, using such, hiding on that to inflict themselves on the people, and they're killing the indigenous and the people of a local faith. The international community should not keep silent. I must have to say this again. Things they should do, they can as well stop the politicians from movement, as well as frozen their assets.
Yeah.
And mostly even their lives among those who are benefiting, they know them. It is known. They should frozen their account and then remove their immunities of moving around the world.
Absolutely.
That will make them stay within. And then I think even within the localities, people should stay in where they claim they govern. Governors should not go and stay in the north. The local government should not run to the chairman, should not run to the Abuja as well. They should be where they are, because when they are there and feel the heat, then they will know that what their people want.
Indeed.
They should also send the peacekeeping to please keep the people at peace, because we need peace, we need security around us, and there must be an independent watch over Nigerian peace process and how people are coexisting. Demand government to provide comprehensive victim and return them to their lands. What does that mean? All those people living in IDPs, they're indigenes, they're not foreigners.
Right. Well, Fulani are taking over their land.
And if one would deny that we are not at war, why should people live in IDP in a war-free time?
Abandoned by the government.
Then if they should return them to their land, the land belongs to them. And it's not when you keep them in IDP, some other people are developing their land. Soon you change the name of the land to even to a foreign language, and that nobody can.
Southern Kaduna is being decimated. Southern Kaduna, I mean, like as T.Y. Gentleman talked about ethnic cleansing. Southern Kaduna is where predominantly non-Muslims live. And this isn't a Muslim-Christian situation, just so everyone understands that. But they are targeting the middle belt, which is predominantly Christian and moderate Muslims and other indigenes that have their own traditional beliefs, right? That's why there's nothing going on in northern Kaduna. It's only in southern Kaduna that this is happening, okay? And when we're talking about sanctioning the government, the International Criminal Court issued a report in 2020. What's going on with that? And then we had the UN Special Rapporteur that went out in 2019 and another one in 2020 calling about the fact that there is gross injustice in Nigeria and all the things that the government is doing. These are objective third parties. So why isn't the UN, looking at their own report? And why isn't the world looking at the combination of the UN, UNICEF, ICC, the UK, Baroness Cox in the UK? What's the name of that guy in France that he did a documentary, right? He went to Nigeria and he documented that all the genocide that's going on. He's from France. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember his name. But we have objective third-party evidence. And they cannot say that they don't see what's going on. So go ahead, Ogarak. I just wanted to point out that we do have objective third-party evidence. It's not just us saying it.
They should also stop all forms of arms sales to Nigeria. All forms of arms sales. Those arms sold to the so-called Nigeria and then to the Nigerian military are then turned into by pretense that the bandits has invaded the camps and all this.
Every single military base is now being invaded by bandits.
And these
bandits are Fulani. Let's be clear. They've divided themselves into bandits, kidnappers, herdsmen, Boko Haram, ISIS. They're all Fulani. All of them, most of them are Fulani. So let's be clear. Before now, everyone understand that.
Before now, they were finding a way to transfer these firearms to them, but now they are using these excuses of invading them to allow them to operate big arms everywhere, saying maybe it is the arm they seized from the military bases, which is wrong.
How can Nigeria military base not have any protection? You know what I mean?
That's a security network we have. Then if they're not, you cannot protect themselves, how can they protect us?
Exactly.
Look, they apparently what we've had is that the terrorists, they're walking around with sophisticated guns.
Absolutely.
They are collecting taxes in states like Zamfara and others.
Let us show the world how they are being brought into our communities and into the armed forces. Here it is, right here.
Exactly.
Right here.
35,000.
This is April 2022. 35,000 are going to be reintegrated. What is reintegrated? These people are foreigners. They were never integrated in the first place. They're criminals. Criminals are being given free everything, while those living in IDP camps are languishing in horrible conditions, abandoned by the government. But the world needs to understand, when we're talking about the terror that is loading in Nigeria, 35,000 in one go. This is the same Zulum, Governor Zulum, that said that these repentant bandits, and he said this back at the end of 2021, are spies. Now he wants to take 35,000 of them. And Shehu Garba, the former, is he senator or House of Rep, asked the question, where were these 35,000 people that the government could not find them?
Yeah.
Where were they?
Well, it's...
They're bringing them in under Ruga, giving them citizenship, giving them NIN numbers. And now they want to incorporate them into every area so they can change the demographics of the indigenous nations.
We are hearing that the NIN has brought in as much as 10 million people.
Yes.
As much as 10 million.
Malians, Nigerians, Mauritania, because Ruga, and we've said, you guys need to go watch that video that we put out, that we have been bringing everyone's attention to, where he openly said, even though it has been rejected, because he asked him, right, would a foreign Fulani benefit from that? He says, oh yeah, we're doing it already. So regardless of what, and we're talking about a democracy, right? So it was rejected, but they went ahead to invite all Fulani across all of Africa to come in and get free citizenship in Nigeria, get free ranches, free land, free money, and they have now dropped 100 million indigenes into poverty while they're bringing millions of Fulani. We've got Yorubas around Africa. Where is their Ruga? We've got Igbos around Africa. Where is their Ruga? Where is it? Where's Ruga for the rest of for the people that actually own the land? They're going to get these foreigners, and they are foreigners, and this is what colonization is. So UK Parliament, UK House of Lords, Fulanese are foreigners, and you know that. It's very disingenuous for someone to stand on the floor of the UK Commons or whatever it is that they stand and blatantly lie and say that this is not colonization because it is internal. Fulanese are foreigners.
Foreigners, yeah.
They are not indigenous to Nigeria. They were not placed in the area from the beginning, except in the early 1800s. Okay, so let's be clear on this. It's highly disingenuous and deliberately so, because they cannot tell me that they don't understand the history of Nigeria, because they're the ones that that created a havoc.
They did.
With how they, I mean, look at they put Igbos in Cameroon. A huge part of Igbos in Cameroon just to weaken the indigenous people, just to weaken them in Nigeria. They arbitrarily just hack them off and put them in Cameroon. So that is what we're going through. So let's finish up and talk about what our people can do, right? We're going to talk about what our people can do to turn things around, because this is important. We need to continually tell our people what they can do. AY, Citizen AY, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, so
put a few things here.
Yeah.
A few things that all of us need to be doing.
Yeah. So I mean,
those of us in, number 3 is for those of us in the diaspora, because they have banned peaceful protests in Nigeria, right?
But yeah, interestingly, you won't believe it. In the UK, they've actually banned protests now.
Really?
Just happened a couple of days.
Interesting. I did not know that.
They've just banned protests now. There's some court cases that have been put up now to challenge it.
Yeah, we need to challenge the one in Nigeria too.
Exactly. Essentially, they said under the parliament in the UK suddenly passed this law to prevent, protests from happening. And they under the guise of these environmental people who have been stopping roads and blocking things, and they've used that to now blanket everybody, so you cannot go out and protest, which is quite, But anyway, let's put that to one side. We'll come back to that. There are challenges in place, but there are protests that we'll be doing outside of the country. And I urge all my fellow diasporans, wherever you are, please go if you can, where you can. Carry out protests, raise the level of awareness, interact among ourselves. We need to go into our churches and to our mosques and actually talk to our people. This is now the time for us now in diaspora to use, those are the key areas where we congregate. On Saturdays, you will Fridays you will find a lot of Muslims in the church. That's the area we should focus on. On Sundays, we will find a lot of Christians in the churches. We need to bring this message to them that it is time for them to get involved in this process. Absolutely. To raise the level of awareness, and they can reach their people on the ground. They have, like I said, each and every one of us are from 2 to 10 people each. Imagine. And there's about 20 million, 30 million, or maybe more of us in diaspora. If those, all of us must get engaged. It is our duty to get involved in this. Raise the level of awareness in our communities on ground. Let them know they have the power to make the change. Let's try and find a way to get them to start setting up vigilante groups, because the vigilante groups is what is actually going to protect them and be able to allow the farmers to go to the farm, provide the food that the community will use. Will survive on, because the government, they've opened all the borders. They said they've now opened the borders in the south. For how long has that taken? There's a reason why they're doing that, and I want us to be very, very careful. They might be opening it because they're trying to do something based on what late Malafia Obadia, what he said. 2022 is a year where they want to carry out a civil war. And perhaps could it be that they're trying to sort of do something so that everybody flees? So they're trying to make the exit route possible so that people can flee. No, we need to make sure we stand in our ground, because once we leave that, you can't come back. Very much like Jean was saying about the IDP camps. People who are in IDP camps cannot go back to their communities because they've been chased out. People, I saw a video, in fact, somebody shared it. People were literally getting onto buses and packing their suitcases and leaving. A whole community were leaving. And the government says absolutely nothing about that.
They do nothing. They don't arrest anybody. They don't arrest any of these terrorists.
Nothing.
They go to the southeast and they're killing people and harassing people. In the southwest, they're killing people and harassing people. But these terrorists, nobody gets arrested. And when they do get arrested, they become repentant.
They left again. They get a call.
They become repentant.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they don't see the four walls of a court. So what we're saying to us is there is something we can do. We need to encourage our people. Now is the time to stand our ground via vigilante groups. Don't do this on your own. Please, we need you guys to be working in groups. Do not work on your own. Don't go to farms on your own. Don't walk the streets on your own. Be in groups. And also, when you set up vigilante groups, we encourage our youth to get involved in this, because it won't be long before they're going to move into the phase where they're going to start going into areas and start just massacre. And we have to provide means and ways to protect ourselves. We've talked about VPN, virtual private networks. At some point, the government will come and they will shut down networks in the whole area. They've done it in the Kaduna.
Yeah, they did that in Kaduna.
Exactly. So we need to be aware. Please make sure those of you who are technology savvy in your community have 2, 3, or 4 of you, or as many of you as together, to set up virtual private networks that people can communicate via. You switch it on, and you can, and at that location is difficult for them to detect. That way, you get, you can do a lot of things with the virtual private network. So these are very, very important things that we can do. We are not powerless. We just need to begin to do that work. So So like I said, reach as many people as possible on abroad, and let us know what is going on, and we will spread the news and make it make it viral, make it go viral, and let's continue to communicate and encourage our people and empower them to know that the Constitution is a fraud and they have the right to self-determination. I'll stop there for now. Thank you very much. I know that we've run past our time now.
Oh, okay. We'll just have a few more minutes for us to round up. So, Ogaraku, what do you want to tell the people? Because one of the things that we're trying to point out here is that even if you take away the Constitution, Nigeria is still a fraud. There are no nations. It's called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There are no nations to make it a federal anything, right? Yeah. So the Constitution, the so-called Constitution, which is AKA Military Decree 24, it's a fraudulent document.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And without any nations, Nigeria is not a federation. And no one agreed to be indivisible and indissoluble. Because we're ethnic nations. We have a right to a sovereignty. A constitution cannot take away our sovereignty.
And more importantly, to bear in mind, we, the citizens, never carried out a referendum to pass that constitution, that fraudulent constitution, into law. Until we do so, that constitution remains null and void. There is a court case going on in Ekiti right now, and one shortly to take place in Osun, whereby they've put a stop on the elections going on in Ekiti for the governorship and in Osun, based on the fact that the constitution itself is a fraud, challenging the very basis of the nation we call Nigeria. So we're seeing the updates. There's meant to be an update, and the case was adjourned until May 11, next month. So these are critical steps. What we want you all to do is, those of you in the Southwest, please, when those court cases come up, peacefully go down to these places and support the case. It's very important. It is really key case to really challenge the foundation of this fraud, because the fraud has no basis. Ask them to provide you a referendum upon which the people of Nigeria collectively signed up and said, okay, we support the fraud constitution 1999. They will never be able to provide it. And that's what you want. I want people to remind that our people at home. Ask them to provide you that referendum, because if there's no referendum, we have no constitution. If there is no referendum, we have no constitution. And on that basis, we are going on our own. There's nothing so much as anybody telling us we are one indivisible. It's a lie. It's just a statement. It's empty. It's a lie. It is a fraud.
Thank you. But the thing is, and Ogarako, sorry, we'll come back to you. The thing is how is it that the international community can sit by?
It's in their interest.
Criminals get away with saying global conflict. These are criminals. They have no lawful, no legal claim to the land. They're coming and killing the rightful owners of the land. And the international community say, oh, it's just for the conflict. These are not owners of the land. They're foreigners. Killing rightful, legal owners of the land. With impunity, because the Buhari government is allowing them to do so.
Yeah. Let me just add something quickly.
If you can,
okay, please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead. I'll let you.
The whole message is to let the world know that we have a situation in Nigeria, a situation that calls for a serious concern. The need for international community is to have a kind of independent body that can listen to people's predicaments and also fast solution. We want them to look into the Nigerian case. I wouldn't like the situation where those colonial masters hide under these international communities to perpetuate what they have maybe planted. So,
okay. Now, whilst you're listening to that, whilst you're trying to say that, if I may, okay, go ahead. Do you want to? Are you back? Okay, go ahead.
So, sorry about that. So, in Nigeria, with the killings mostly in the Middle Belt, and now that has passed to even the Southeast, as you can see in the Imo State.
Yeah.
And with the security the central security that is no longer trusted because of its Fulanization nature, as you can see from the where all the chief securities are from one tribes, thereby they are no longer trusted by the people of other sectors. Yeah. And then where even the local security that is being created are now being used by the so-called central, even to get to where they're supposed not to get.
Right.
I want to let us know that unless you guarantee security, we as people should go to the farm and produce, for which is the source of raw material for all the industries you think of. I mean, all the raw material for every industry you think of comes from the land. And if people are not free to work in the land, automatically we are creating poverty.
Starvation, actually. It's starvation. That's why we have 9 million on the verge of starving to death.
And it is a war of its own. It is a war of its own, I must tell you.
Absolutely.
This is a wrong governance.
Absolutely.
People should expect more. And if somebody should not come here, just like Theresa May came in sometime to let us know that we are the poverty capital of the world without doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good you mentioned it, and then at least nobody will hide anymore. Then what do we do about that? Has anything changed from them?
Let me add something.
Excuse me.
Okay.
And then Cameroon said the Nigeria is fantastically corrupt. Why should all this be said and nothing is done about it? Is it just for announcement or just to cajole us or to save us? So I want to say here that Nigeria is in need of international attention. And more importantly, election renews this fraudulent paper we have, because whenever this election is done, whoever wins got sworn in. And one of the things you do is to defend the Constitution.
Yeah, that's the first job.
It's difficult for you to come and change the same Constitution you swore to defend.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why the referendum is the right step to go.
Yeah.
And I believe the different governments, Obasanjo, Jonathan has seen this and created one conference or the other that has created something or one thing or the other that's supposed to help us, or more importantly, give back the right to people to decide what they want. That's what Nigeria needs today.
Absolutely.
We don't do this, I must tell you, just like the report from the United Nations, sitting on our gunpowder, which will explode any time, the humanitarian, crisis that will follow it will be difficult for the world to manage. We know, common Ukraine, what is happening in all Europe today. If something happens to Nigeria, I'm afraid how the face of the world will look like.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if you guys saw when the these militant Muslims in the UK, they were threatening the government that they should bring in Sharia law or something of the nature in the UK. I remember seeing that video.
Yeah.
You know, so because this is not Afghanistan. Afghanistan is going to be nothing.
Yes. Oh, they're only 40 million.
Mayhem that they would, you know, they already have presidents in 4 West African countries, and they're not indigenous to West Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the terror that they're going to unleash on the world is going to be, you know, is going to be uncontainable. And so the world better pay attention now and curtail these terrorists, okay? Because they're moving from country to country, you know, destabilizing West Africa and the rest of Africa, you know, and the world is just staying quiet. Afghanistan is staying within its borders.
Exactly.
These people don't stay within their borders.
No.
Okay. They will come bomb you in the land. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay. They will be out and hunting for everybody. So it's imperative that this is taken care of now. And AY just home.
Yeah, please. I want to say something. There is something that we need to really be aware of. There was a report about the 80% of our mineral resources, namely our petroleum and oil, being stolen. And it is now being proven that there are international rackets, very much like the drug cartels. There is a oil cartel with governments involved in this process of looting the resources that belong to us.
That's how they are funding the terrorists.
This is actually what is happening. Exactly. And we have to be aware of that. So on the base, and the many of the governments that are sort of espousing democracy and everything else, they are in cahoots in taking this oil. In 2017, 500 million barrels went missing, and it was given to about 50, you heard me right, 50 different countries around the world. That money went, nobody said anything.
Disappeared, absolutely.
Western countries.
And it's a Fulani that are in charge of NNPC.
Exactly. The Western countries, US, UK, France, Netherlands, Canada, they all got beat 50 million barrels easily each.
Yes.
But what are we saying? It's time.
Well, what we're saying is that the resources of Africa has been used to develop the world while keeping Africa impoverished. Exactly. And holding them down. We saw what France did to the Francophone countries, right?
Still doing.
Where they were taking their money up until, wasn't it last year or the year before, that it was now brought to the light, how they were taking their money, 75% of their money, of the Francophone countries.
Giving them 15% even. giving back 15.
Loaning them back their money at high interest rates. And then have the audacity to turn around and say that Africa is not developing when they're the ones that are stealing all the resources in Africa, in Black Africa.
Yeah. So there is a lot of work for us to do.
Absolutely.
I urge us all. I really, really urge us all. We have to redouble our efforts. We must never feel hopeless in this situation. There is always something we can do. Yes, we can talk to the Western economy, raise alarm, but in the end, the only ones who are going to free us is ourselves. Yes. The only ones who are going to free us is ourselves. The only ones who are going to free us is ourselves. And our collective effort as Middle Beltans, as Igbos, as Yorubas, focusing on this is the only way we will break the back of this injustice. Don't wait. If the UN come and say something, fine. But we must take the steps. We must protect ourselves right now. Femi Additional telling us, oh, leave the place. If you rather have your life. If you have your life and you don't have a land, what's the point? Your land is everything. Your land is everything. Your land is everything, because it is on that land that your generations will survive. So we need to stand together and protect it, because that is our birthright that these guys are taking away from us. And we need to make sure we put the systems in place. The referendum is indeed the only way. Referendum now. We must go for it. INEC is a fraud. You cannot rely on any fraud. You cannot rely on them to carry out any decent elections. It will be rigged. Anybody that believes that INEC is going to carry out any credible elections, you are joking. You are simply joking.
But we'll couple that with the fact that we have all this, just Chad, people from Chad, I think they said there's 4 million of them that they have given the NIN. So that's why they want to do a census now and add them into the voter rolls. These are foreigners and not citizens of Nigeria.
Exactly.
Right? Nigerians, Mauritania, they've come from everywhere. Who are citizens of other countries where they've done the same thing and taken over the presidency of those countries by just moving around the same group of people and paying them.
Yeah.
And impoverishing
with our own money.
Exactly. So anywho, thank you all very much. And we'll be back out next week, bringing out more information that our people need to know. And we really need to focus on getting this information out. We need to focus on doing what each and everyone can do. You can't do everything. That's fine. Contact your lawmakers in the country where you are. Make sure that they understand what's going on, because there's so much false narrative out there, right? Support the freedom groups, right? Support them monetarily. Make sure you're communicating the information to others. You gotta share the information, and then you gotta sign the referendum, because it is important, as Citizen AY said, we are the ones that need to free ourselves. We need to take the steps, and we need to be dogged about it. Okay, just dogged about it, and making sure that we're not getting tired, because failure is not an option. Because we are not losing our land. We're not giving away the future of our children to be slaves in this apartheid Nigeria. We definitely cannot sit still and let that happen. So again, thank you all very much. Thank you, Citizen AY. Thank you, Honorable. You guys have been great and providing great, insightful information for our listeners to be able to take away and really do something good. So again, thank you all very much.